Hello Libra, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and this reading is for the month of October. This will take you through the next 6 to 8 weeks. You can use it for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus, and you can either watch it in advance of the month or as the month unfolds. I always like to begin my readings with channeled messages, and these can come through dreams, meditation, or through everyday life. Sometimes when you're walking the dog, out driving your car, or watering the flowers, messages can come through, and that was the case for me today. This morning as I was walking Apollo, I heard crows, and they basically stopped me from what I was doing. And I really love that sort of energy of being present and aware, and that's the first thing that I want to focus on. Then we'll talk about a scarab beetle as well. So let's listen to them for just a second. I was able to capture the video because I thought you guys would appreciate it. So there we go. Basically, as I said, I was trying to have a conversation, and this kind of slowed me down for a second to just think, all right, let's really be present in this moment. And I thought, well, of course, I'm going to talk about this for the Libra reading. Thank you, Spirit, for delivering exactly what I needed to convey. Crows are so intelligent. I've featured them before as a totem. So one of the things that I remember is that they have keen problem-solving capability. Also, they have a really developed and large brain for the size of animal that they are. Additionally, they have the ability to recognize faces, and they've been able to create this symbiotic relationship with wolves in particular, where they'll help one another hunt. So we have cooperative energy or symbiotic relationships, intelligence, and then of course there's the esoteric, spiritual, mythical sort of energy of them where they're connected to the beyond. So there's nothing not to love about that sort of energy. Plus it's a flying sort of creature on this planet, so it's connected to air. Very appropriate for Libra. So this is asking you to get a bird's eye view of a situation. Use your wisdom, use your third eye and your insight as well in intuition, and make it work. You'll find a way to make whatever challenge is in front of you work. And also, it's about listening. Listen to what people are saying, listen to what's going on in the periphery, and make sure that you're not missing an opportunity. Although I didn't feature a card here on this slide, I would probably associate this with the High Priestess, the Moon, and the Death cards in Tarot, because it has the raw intuition and instinct of the High Priestess and the Moon card collectively. It also has that connection to spirit that the Death card would bring forth. So we'll see how everything unfolds here as I start to lay out the Celtic Cross. Let's go ahead and move on to the second symbol here, which, as I said, was a scarab beetle. And this is a reminder to rise up. Scarabs in ancient mythology were a symbol of, again, connection to the great beyond. Also death, or in this case, rebirth. I wanted to really focus on that. And I saw a fig beetle, but it's still part of the scarab family. And it reminds us that even at the precipice of change, when one door might be closing, several other opportunities may be on the horizon opening up. Also, something that is flying and getting a bird or beetle's eye view of the world, it's saying, don't forget to look beyond the present challenge or the current situation, because there's so much more that's unfolding. It's all about expansion. And with that being said, let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the messages are. Okay, and just in case you just tuned in, again, this can be used for Sun, Rising, and Moon in particular. We'll even dig a little deeper into all of those later today. All right. If you ever want to see any of my decks, they're all listed on my website. How interesting that we have a carrion crow here on this one, a different kind of bird here, but also flying and connected to the energy of death and rebirth, which we talked about. Love synchronicities. Zoom in just a little bit so you can see it better. How auspicious that we actually received the symbol for balance here in your outcome. So it looks like this month is all about that. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's get started here with the Catalyst card first. In the Catalyst position, we have recognition and reward. For some of you, you've been waiting for a while, and this card indicates that maybe for the first time in months or years, something is really starting to click and you're getting that recognition that you deserve. This is also connected to the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of recognition and reward. And it's a reminder that in order to get there, you want to finish what you started. And it's about not just sort of like receiving the recognition, but recognizing how valuable the experience of learning is, because that is something that you take with you beyond this lifetime. We take the love and we take the lessons. And so here's your traditional Three of Pentacles. Here's sort of a reimagined version of this. And in this one, we can see the person more in the throes of learning and completion. And because they're doing what they love and because there's a lot of TLC in it, people are coming through and they're resonating with it. So basically, when you stop focusing so much on these two things, they happen naturally. But you are in the sweet spot where this should start to happen for you. And it's also a reminder, by the way, if there are people in your life that are working hard, that are great contributors, that are there supporting you, to give them the recognition, the support, and the appreciation that they deserve as well. Remembering that there was the symbiotic energy that the crow brought through today. So that's another place where that's important. Okay. We'll periodically look back at this as we go through the Celtic Cross. Let's get started with your centermost card, the Knight of Wands. This is a really great card, smack dab in the center, to come through, and it's basically an indication of your inventive, your inspirational, and even your sort of, I would say, brainstorming ability this month to, just like we were talking about the crow, to think through things, to be innovative. It's just really great. But it is also about saying that a good idea is only as good as the follow through or the action, and Knights definitely will take it to the next level. So basically what we can take away from this is, if there's something that you need to get done, you may be exactly the right person to do it. If there's someone dragging their feet, don't be afraid to follow up. If you need to demonstrate, because wands are more demonstrative, it's not so much about talking something to death. Sometimes you just show that it can be done and people get behind it because they see a proof of concept, a prototype, or you are just already in the energy of whatever it is that you're trying to show them. So that's what I see here, is basically show up, embody whatever it is that you want to do, and don't be afraid to show different, I would say, communication styles, like visual aids and prototypes are very much connected to this as well. All right, this is so cool that the Death card in this deck features a bird of prey. This is really nicely connected to the totem that we had earlier, again, crows, and it's reminding you to do what we talked about: problem solving, rising above a situation and getting a bird's eye view, and trusting your intuition. So that's why I like the connection here. We also see communication being a core concept here, communicating that a change has happened. So for some of you, it's just voicing that you're not in the same place that you were before. And this may be important for old relationships in your life, maybe communicating boundaries. And if you want to see a change happen, you can say something like, I think we really need to focus on this. This is something that isn't working. So to me, this is a proactive communication card about where you want to see change. And that really, at the end of the day, is what death can represent. It's transformation and change. Something is passing out of your periphery or your view, and something new is coming in. But there has to be the awareness, and in many cases, the awakening and the communication of that. So that's what I see here. And it's kind of interesting because, death itself in the traditional card is a knight. So what we have here now is a communication of a new idea and bringing it further than it has been in the past. So I just see this as forward momentum, positive change, because the Death card is being influenced by the Knight of Wands, and it's about bringing that forward. As we take a look at your deep past, we have the Six of Cups. The first thing that came through was return to form. So this can be something from your youth that you kind of put off to the sidelines, a version of yourself that you wanted to be, but maybe didn't have the support, the resources, or maybe even the self-confidence to kind of go towards. Now this inner child, which we can even see easier in the Six of Cups Rider-Waite-Smith version, is saying, I want to come out now and play and fulfill my sort of dream of what was coming through. And the interesting thing here is it is about turning around and seeing that version of yourself as valid, because these kids are looking in opposite directions. So look within, trust yourself, know that you can follow through and accomplish whatever dream that you have and make it a reality. This is also about someone from the past. It's in the deep past coming through. So there could be an old friend, colleague, love interest that's re-entering, and you're kind of asking yourself, are we done, or is there more to come here? So this death card is really saying, it's from the past. It would have to probably change. The two of you have changed. So if the relationship is going to work, you have to see the change in both parties. And when we look at love, we can go a little deeper into that. But before that, we have to look at the recent past. And many of you have started to find your voice. It's interesting that on the death card, we have this almost screaming version of death. She's coming through, really saying what's on her mind. And in the Hierophant in reverse, this can be someone in real life trying to shush you, right? Someone at work, a parent, a friend, trying to say, keep your voice down, or don't speak up, or it's not your turn, or, And we've all had people try to silence our voice in life at some point. This is a month where you may not be willing or ready to be silenced anymore. And in fact, you may be looking at the status quo, the environment around you. This can represent schools, organizations, existing structures that are very rigid, and you think, it worked before, but it doesn't necessarily work anymore for me. And, the Hierophant has a key on it typically. And usually, I'll pull it up while we're talking here, but usually there are two disciples at the feet of the Hierophant. And that's why it represents kind of like this old-fashioned traditional thing. What happens as you start to grow into adulthood and just find your voice and find your own footing is you realize that you know what's best for you at some level. And at the end of your life and the end of your days, you have to answer for your own deeds and your own decisions. So some of you are stepping into that right now, and you're saying to yourself, you know what? This is what's right for me. Take it or leave it. And here's your traditional Hierophant card. Again, this person is used to just saying something, and he wants people to listen. And you may be thinking, I've learned what I needed to from this person, and maybe some of the things that they're trying to put out there are too old-fashioned. So what we're getting here is kind of like a rebellious energy. This is where that inner child's coming through and saying, let's give this a try now. I think we can do this. And it's also really inventive. Out-of-the-box thinking is very much being rewarded in this period of time. Recognize your dream, your vision, your uniqueness, and out-of-the-box sort of energy will be rewarded down the line, even if, especially if, it's not being understood where you're at. As we look at your crowning card, there is a reminder here to take care. So we have Four of Swords, which represents rest. In the rest, in this sort of ability to just really focus and regroup, oftentimes new ideas come. I'll periodically go back to the traditional deck as we look at this. So one thing that you want to do is, if you've been through a really difficult period in your life, if you've been working too much, if you just feel like I'm a little burned out, this card is coming through with a nod to that, and it says, once you allow yourself to rest, there's a new idea, there's this invigoration that happens. The Three Swords above represent the pain, the challenges, the burnout, all that stuff. And as a reward for resting, you get an ace, and you can do something compelling with that. This particular illustration, we can see that there's a focus on the feet. And so for some of you, it's about taking the next step. It's almost as if you're dragging your feet, or you're feeling kind of like anchored in place. And also, it's really interesting the way they chose to illustrate this. So that's one thing. And then we have two swords in the stone. And this could almost represent then a Two of Swords. So there's reluctance to move forward because there's indecision or lack of clarity. So we actually got like a couple of cards combined there. So remember this. As long as it feels right, mind, body, and spirit, it's okay. You may not have all the data to back it up. Not everyone around you is going to understand or agree with it. What's important is that it feels good to you. As we take a look here at the near future, we have the Chariot and the reverse state. And this is basically, again, about maybe taking the reins and moving in a different direction. And you see the two wild horses here wanting to go in different paths. When it comes to the next leg of the journey, there may be a need to assemble like a new group around you. So sometimes this is your family, this is your friends, this could actually be colleagues, where they might be interested in going in a different path or a different direction. That's okay. In life, we ebb and flow. We sometimes go apart, then we come back together. The important thing here is that what you're doing, you are taking an active role in navigating, and that again, it feels like it's aligned to your higher path. So don't let someone tug you away from what your heart wants. Don't let someone convince you to do something that they want but you don't really believe in. This is a chance for you to corral and to organize, again, your own sort of support team and staff, and then you're going to start to see momentum come together. Chariot in reverse is also saying when it comes to all things in your life, from your health to your finances to just small things in general, to speak up and to try to make as much of an impact as possible. Less sort of like being a wallflower this month. One thing that's really coming through is communication. That death card speaking its intention of change and movement and growth and transformation. Okay? Let's see how you're showing up. King of Cups, I love it. First of all, you may be pulling in love this month because after all, like attracts like energy. We see the busy bees and then we see the fruit of that labor, all the honey coming through. So this is a month where all of the hard work really does come through. And for many of you, there could be a sweet opportunity, a sweet reward, or just some really good feeling internally where you're like, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy where I'm at. And if you're not, making any movement towards being happy is the whole purpose of the month. Create movement and joy, cultivate it, curate it in your life. And it isn't always something that is just going to be offered up. You have to sort of set the stage, do the work. But if you do the work this month, it feels like some good things can come through. Ultimately, the King of Cups is creative, sensitive, and passionate, and these are things that are really fun to be, right? And you have the ability to connect with all of that this month. It's also very loving and lovable. So continue to carry with you the understanding that you are worthy, you are lovable, you are capable, and really connect with this King card, okay? As we take a look here at what's going on in the environment, we have a very pensive Four of Cups. In the reverse state, this is basically about being able to see things for what they truly are, because typically the character on this card is missing what's right in front of them. But this is powerful. They're actually tuning in. The more you're able to go internally and sort of like, again, sort of just trust your gut, your intuition, your heart, the easier it will be to see this. And also simply imagining that something could be easier makes it easier. I've talked about the old Kate Bush song, Cloud Busting, where she says, and even just saying it could make it happen or thinking it could make it happen. Yes, she's right. It's manifestation. So by thinking or saying something, you're basically bringing it into being. So let's imagine that something could be easier. Something could happen faster. Something could be what? Sweeter than you imagined. And that you are absolutely capable and deserving of all of this and then some. So open yourself up to unusual and very favorable opportunities. The more open-minded you are, the better this month, okay? There could be also around you a place where people can't or refuse to see you because their eyes are closed, because their mind or heart is shut off, because they really want you to just show up the way they expect. And so part of this is just seeing how lovely and how capable and how, in a good way, rebellious and out of the box you are, and how that's going to be rewarding in the long run, okay? We have a Page of Cups and hopes, fears, and opportunities. Folks, this is love. This is an opportunity. This is a good offer. And it pairs up nicely with you. Someone's recognizing you. Page delivers or sees or connects with something. And in this case, Like attracts like I said. So if you're looking for love, love could be coming. If you're looking for an opportunity, then it's also ready for you. And it comes because you believe in yourself. It comes because you've done the work and you're in a good space. The Six of Cups, the inner child is happy and it wants to come out and play. So really connect with that. There could be also a younger sort of energy in your life right now that you're focusing a lot on, because we have a card of youth, and this is also very youthful. And some of you may be focusing on starting a family or teaching, or you just want to spend a little bit more time with the younger generation, maybe again, imparting gifts and knowledge or whatever, and that is being represented here as well. In the outcome, I was talking a little bit about it here in the Four of Swords, and now we see it again. It's decision time, Libra, and that might even be your title for today's reading. It's decision time, and only you can basically decide what to do. Yes, someone else in your life could try to chart it out for you, but the truth is this month, you want to maybe change or explore or do something different, and that's exactly where things should go. Knowing that you've done the work for things to go in the right direction and for you to be successful. So the Two of Swords is also an invitation to ask the tough questions, to look at things that you really are uncomfortable with, because when we have some butterflies, when we get out of our comfort zone, we grow and we experience new things. And sometimes the world is even better than we imagined. Let's expand the forecast and really get a clear vision of what this month has to offer. We're going to start off with health, and this is the first. We go to health, wealth, love, and destiny. Health is your mind, body, and spirit. I look at energy, and the energy of health is about rediscovering your superpower. I'm telling you, folks, it's something that you already have, something that maybe shined through loud and clear in your youth. Access 100% of your mojo. Very conversational, this card. But look at what's happening. Okay, it's not just a swirl of energy. We have one person here and then we have another here. This can be spirit whispering to you. This could be the lovers. This could also just be a favorable partnership. And we even see one other person coming through as well. People are into what you have to offer. You have to be your authentic self this month. It will make you happier. And honestly, at the end of the day, it serves as a litmus test to see where the unconditional love and support is. Because if people can't embrace the true you, then it's really not worth the time and energy investing in those relationships anymore, you know? So let's go ahead now and just see what's coming through, generally speaking, with respect to health. Again, I'm going to be looking at energy and patterns, and a lot of times that affects the body. All right, as we're looking at the center card, there's no way to not see the death card. This is stagnation, and as I said, this is a month to get moving. So for some of you, it can actually just be physical stagnation. You've been sitting too much, you haven't been moving enough. Obviously, you're going to work with your doctor to figure out how to amp up that physical activity. And for some of you, it could be that you're stuck in a relationship or a job, and this is about moving through that. The good news is you're not alone. We have Six of Cups in the past. This is really about connecting to people in your life that can support you. We see that you're very magnetic this month with the King of Cups energy and also with the Page of Cups. So I see at least 2 or 3 people that want to come through and give you help if you want to move in a different direction. I also see that there could be too close-minded of a person or an organization or space around you. Hierophant, Four of Cups, they're missing something. The Chariot, you're going to take the wheel and drive and go in a different direction. 2 things coming through really specifically with health. The Four of Swords, getting enough sleep, making sure that you're not burning the candle at both ends. 2 of Swords, we almost got it twice here. Also about making sure that there's no rock left unturned or no stone left unturned. So getting second opinions when it comes to important health decisions or life decisions. Inform yourself, ask questions, make sure that you know what you need to know. And in doing so, it feels like you're going to be able to reap the rewards of that, okay? And that's really everything for health. It looks like you're fine. Some of you are getting your energy back too. So discovering your superpower could just be about reconnecting and amping up your sort of internal energy. And that comes from exercise, that comes from therapy, that comes from so many different things when you're just starting to live a healthier and happier version of your life. All right, we're going to move on to wealth and see what the Oracle card has to say for that. Big, bold vision. Love it. So as I've been saying this month, with authenticity, especially we just saw it here, health and wealth are connected. Access 100% of your mojo by being your authentic self. Go bold, go big, paint with those bold strokes, and don't be afraid this month. This is very like star-like energy. And we have a beautiful, gosh, we keep seeing all of the bees coming through. It's all flying creatures. We have the scarab beetle here too. How exciting is that? So a scarab and a bee. I saw the scarab in everyday life. The bees keep coming through in all these different decks. So let's talk about the bee for a second in the context of work. Well, it's a hive mentality. So some of you may be trying to assimilate into a kind of larger group, and some of you are saying, no, I want to be the queen bee, or I want to start my own sort of, my own path, my own way. So there's a kind of decision here. Do I stay? Do I go? There's also cooperative, collaborative energy. And when we look at team energy, when I look at ants or bees, they're very highly evolved at getting things done. So it looks like this month, the way to go is group energy. If you can work within a group and figure out roles, that's actually how bees are successful. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. So this is saying get organized. So if there is something that you're trying to do, you can do some of the organization. You may need someone else to help with other parts of it that you don't love. And so delegating and also just trusting people to do their job is going to be key. All right. Let's take a look at this in 3 different perspectives. If you're at a point in your career where you're just starting off, or you might be at a pivot, then here's what I see. This is your life. This is especially for students, or again, if you're turning a new leaf. Parents and teachers think that they know what's best. They do have great experience, but at the end of the day, you have to like your path. So your path is not their path, and that's one message coming through. There's also this very highly innovative and again, bold energy here. So not everyone is going to understand what you want to do. I was lucky enough, my parents are both in spirit, but neither of them would have cared. Well, they were able to see what I'm doing now before they passed, but my mom was super supportive. My dad was like, as long as you're happy. And that's all you can ask sometimes from parents. So I never got questions or judgment. And as long as I was healthy, happy, and able to take care of myself, they didn't care what I was doing. They were always proud. Not everyone's that lucky. There are a lot of people that are forced in certain paths professionally because it's expected of them, or they're judged because they're doing something that isn't understood. So, this month, that's where that deviation of, you might have to go your own way, and that's okay. That's a decision you have to make. But I see how bold and bright it is for many of you, and it feels like you'll be A-okay. Maybe you need to hear that from me. It's okay to be different. It's okay to walk a different path. And that's one thing that I see for students and for people just starting out. And sometimes you have to chart the unexpected or unknown. When I first began what I'm doing, my corporate career, it was just at the beginning of like the internet. So in the early 2000s, I've always worked in digital fields and new media and now social media and evolving technologies. I've always embraced it rather than run from it. In fact, I just love stuff. I've always loved technology in general. So people didn't know what I did. I would tell them like, well, what do you do? So you're working on a website and you do that. Like now people get it because we have jobs and job descriptions. But I know for like a good 10 or 15 years, my parents couldn't tell the family what I was doing. They're like, he's like a designer or he's a programmer. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, he works on a website. Who cares? I was having fun and I was working in a new technology. So you and you alone need to understand what you're doing. Enough said on that. For those of you that are mid-career, here's what I see. Stagnation for some of you. I also see a place where it's hard to get the recognition you deserve. I haven't seen a lot of movement or activity here, and it's difficult to track what's next. Be the agent of change. If you want a change, if you want to see something happen, you're going to have to speak it or write it or bring it into fruition. The good news is you seem to be very good at what you're doing or very likable, and you can either make it happen somewhere else or maybe you can open a channel here. But if you can't get it in the foreseeable future where you're at, it's time to ride the wings of change, okay? For those of you that are retired or are unemployed or not focusing on work so much right now, This is really about people and passion. And you should be doing stuff that you love with people that you love. You should maybe be opening people's hearts and minds to new things. And so the teaching energy comes through once more. And at the end of the day, I was talking to a client the other day, and I was like, it's just about feeling happy and feeling that flow of energy coming through you. So I think it's important to feel like you're in the flow of creativity, and that whomever you're spending your time with, friends, family, colleagues, clients, that they are receptive. Pages are super receptive. So if you don't get that receptivity, that's going to be the litmus test right now. Should I keep the connection or should I cut the connection? Okay? Ultimately, just overall, we have a card of recognition, and we have a card that would be connected with the star. We have, again, rebirth, reincarnation here. So you can make a new chapter happen at any stage, any age, any step of the journey. Let's move on to love and relationships and see what's in store for you. We have a playful energy, and I love it. It's so nicely connected to that Page of Cups. Let's look at it in the upright position. So the dolphin comes through with a bunch of messages. The first one is simply to have some fun. And that was also what we got with the Six of Cups. It's definitely what we have with the Page of Cups, okay? Someone might be inviting you out. Let's go out. Let's try this out. I think it would be good for some of you to accept the invitation. Swim in the happy joy of living. Each and every day, take a moment, be present, play. Apollo's in the other room and he wants me to have fun. He's like, Dad, are you done with this yet? Can we play? Can you feed me? He's a constant sort of dolphin energy in my life and reminds me of the importance of having fun. Inhale confidence and exhale fear. Amen to that. I think a way that you can also get rid of fear is by seeing how other people have done it, by educating yourself, by researching. But it is about breathing it and speaking it into existence, like that Kate Bush song. Just saying it or thinking it could even make it happen. Dive into your wisdom. Yes, that makes sense. Go with the flow. Yes, that also makes sense. Don't force it. So the main thing in relationships here with the dolphin card in reverse, if you're not having fun, if it's too much work, and if there is a lack of fluidity, if things don't flow naturally, then you might be going in the wrong direction. It might be the wrong connection for you, okay? Let's break this down into the major relationship types that I like to look at. We're going to start off with those that are already in a successful or loving relationship. Then we'll go to those looking for love, and then those that are happily single. For those in a current relationship, and I said successful, let's just put out that it's a current relationship. Here's what I see. If it's successful, there's major changes happening. If it isn't successful, the reason that it isn't is because there's a lack of action, communication, or spark. There's a really strong opinion from one partner of how things should be, and it's difficult to feel like you're being seen, because these are two cards where the person's literally they're closed on the Four of Cups. In the traditional one, they're just not looking in the right direction, and then Two of Swords is usually blindfolded. So we see that both partners are having a hard time seeing each other. If it's successful, what could be pulling you away from one another? It could be external forces, work, or you could be trying to convince someone to do something that they don't want to do. I think what's important this month is to come together and say, where did it all start? When we go into the deep past, friendship, love, joy. What's still there? Friendship, love, and joy. But there's a lot of other things that are getting in the way. So does the good outweigh the not so good? If it does, then it's about reconnecting on a heart level and saying, we've got to sort through some of this stuff. Again, communicating the necessary changes. And the partner is going to either be receptive or they're not. And if they're not, then this is a month where, again, it shouldn't be that hard. So if there's no flow, then it's time to move in a different direction. If there is, you'll be all right. It's just a matter of doing the work. Because this is the opportunity card, and it is a receptive card, but it boils down on the receptivity of your partner, okay? I think the main thing, though, when we're looking at existing relationships is recognizing one another. I said that earlier. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate it when you do this. I see you, and I appreciate what you're bringing to this sort of like partnership, okay? There's karmic energy also at play here, and there is a maturity gap, maybe even an age gap for some of you, between the king and the page, a big one there. So there tends to be one person that does more of the sort of like quote unquote grown-up stuff, the one that kind of, is along for the ride. And so this is a time where both of you could kind of meet on a similar level and bring the same energy forth if you want to. All right, resetting everything. For those of you that are looking for love, single and looking, here's an interesting thing. I think the first and the most important thing for you is not to focus on what hasn't happened. Sometimes the Four of Swords can feel like a crickets card, like nothing's happening. Or it's simply a call to slow down and enjoy some space. Enjoy your own company. Take a moment to be grateful for all that you're creating and you've built. And when you start to get into the peaceful, joyful state, since joy keeps coming through, that's when someone else sees you and they're like, oh, look at that person that's in a place of peace and joy and happiness. I want to be around that. But if you're too busy trying to pull someone in, it's a little more agitated and it may push them away instead. So this is a time to focus on gratitude, to focus on embracing this boldness that is you, to recognize people around you that are doing great things, and just to simply continue on your path. I can already hear many of you saying, but Nicholas, can I find love? Yes, you can. You're coming through as the King of Cups. Your partner, potential partner, is coming through as the Page of Cups. The manner in which they're coming is unexpected, Four of Cups. The level of connection is deep with the Six of Cups. It's a friend, it's a soulmate, it's someone from this past, your past in this lifetime, or karmically your distant past. So it's good. There's an old soul sort of energy to this as well. The main thing here is just to create some space and enjoy the space while you have it, and know that this energy will come through when the time is right. For those that are single and happy, it's a really good time for partnering up. Again, this could be used in work and finance and self-care and self-development. It's an important time for you to look at just your life in general, make some plans. This is an indecisive card, the Two of Swords. So as a tarot reader, I can take you just so far with things. There has to be also a connection for you to decide, what am I feeling? What do I recognize as important? This is a learning and expansion card, reminding you that at any age and any stage of development, we still want to learn and figure things out. So some of you may just want to go back to school. Some of you may just want to do some fun things. This is a very sport-oriented card. This guy's fishing. Anything that brings that sense of sort of contentment is what's important. It's not so much about like what's looking good on paper. It's what's feeling good here. And I also would encourage you to just kind of go within and think, what do I want at this stage of the journey? What makes it worthwhile to get up tomorrow? And what do I want to do tomorrow? And what do I wish I did today? All of those things will help frame it up. And it's something that you might have to sleep on a little bit to get more clarity. All right, let's move on to the final part of the expanded forecast, and that's your destiny card. Ultimately, this month, it's you showing up at the end, as I kind of foreshadowed at the very beginning. Thank you, angels, for bringing me balance, bringing my life into balance. And we have justice, or the scales coming through. It's so appropriate for you. It's interesting that she's kind of wearing that masquerade mask. So sometimes what's perfectly balanced and right for us, it's not what we expect. It isn't picture perfect. It isn't what we imagine, but it might be exactly what we need. It might be exactly at the right time, even if it is inconvenient. So this is saying, wherever the balance is, whenever you achieve that sense of, this is what I've been looking for, hold on to it and trust it, because we spend a lot of our times with the scales this way or this way. So when they are in that perfect balanced state, it's something to celebrate. Whatever you can do this month to get a little closer, that's really what your focus should be. This is also auspicious, positive for any of you that might be trying to fight for a legal matter, or again, just try to create that sense of work-life balance in your life. This is the time to do it. Let's navigate into the sun, rising, and moon messages and see what else is coming through. And for those that are cross-watching, this will help you out as well. Okay, this is where things get exciting. So for the sun sign, we have the Six of Swords. This is a card of transition and movement. It's closely connected to the Death card. You got all of them, actually. So you've got the Death card, the Six of Swords, and the Four of Swords. So let's look at all the positions of it real quick, and let's talk about why this is so important. So ultimately, this card in Sun is saying now is the time to move the needle forward. And it's asking you, when do you want to? Not if you want to, but sort of like, when do you want to take the next step? The first step for many of you at the beginning of the month is to rest, to sleep on it, to decide. So decision, clarity, and peace with the decision, communication of the decision, and then as a result, the reaction from the world at large here with the Six of Swords. So movement is going to happen, a breakthrough ultimately for many of you this month. Okay? Auspicious. This is good. Things are moving, and they're moving in the right direction, especially because we have the Knight of Wands at the middle, and we have the King of Cups representing you. Okay, let's move on from Sun to Rising. For Rising, we have Seven of Swords. So this is an interesting card because it is about making sure that you are really, I would say, kind of vetting out any potential connections in your life. So I would say be mindful of any contracts that you're about to sign, because it looks like there might be something in the fine print that needs to be evaluated. This is a month in particular where you want to have good legal counsel and make sure that they take a really good look at things, because we had a lot of cards with, normally this would have the eyes blindfolded, and we already see the eyes shut in this particular card. So there's something that's being missed potentially that you want to make sure that you don't. There could also be someone around you that you need to simply address and say, you said you were going to do this, it's time to be accountable. You'll say it in better words, but it's calling to account someone's promise or obligation and making sure that they're not continuing to fall short of that. And if you see someone that just isn't what they present themselves to be, it's time to move in another direction. The final thing, and this is kind of interesting whenever the Seven of Swords comes through, it can be a very gentle card to just say, keep your promises and keep them to yourself, keep it to others, and only say things that you truly want to do. If you say, I'll give you a call, give them a call. If you say, we'll meet up next week, meet up next week. If you tell your doctor, yeah, I'm going to change this about my life, my health, or whatever, do it. Those little promises, if not kept after time, can equate to the Seven of Swords. And then they can attract it. So the more accountable you are to your own happiness, health, and promises, the more you are likely to bring in people who have done the same work. Okay, enough said with that. Let's move on to moon messages. And we have Six of Wands in reverse. Success. Success, but it may not happen immediately. I talked about this earlier. So you've already done the work for the recognition and the reward. The timing is sometimes up to the universe. But here's the cool thing. When it comes to soul review, when it comes to the end of your life, many of you are checking off list items that you've been wanting to accomplish. And the recognition, it doesn't matter when or if it happens, as long as you are successfully transitioning through the things that you set out to do in your life, then I've said this before, success is subjective. So look at your life with a lens that's really open-hearted, open-minded, and as objective as possible and say, I feel good about that. I got through it. That equates success, okay? Don't try to repeat previous success in the same manner, because it's kind of like catching lightning in a bottle. So the best way to sometimes be successful in the future is to change. And you kind of got the two components for being successful. Change equals success. And that's a pretty powerful message. All right, before we wrap up, one final card is what we're going to look at. This is your chance to ask me something that's specific to your life. Close your eyes. Think about a question that you have just, in this moment in time, and let me go ahead and see what the cards have to say. Even though this is a general reading, this is a chance to get a little bit of clarity on something personal. All right, we have Eight of Swords. A lot of energy around fear of ambiguity is coming through. So this is typically a blindfolded card, but look at how powerful this interpretation is. We have the owl, we have the eyes, the wisdom, and we also have something that's more representative of like the world figure here with this woman. But this is basically saying you may not see it yet, But if you see it here and you feel it here, you can breathe it into existence. So this is, I mean, science and math and technology. You can look at real life examples where just because it doesn't exist now doesn't mean that it won't. So a lot of times what we imagine in movies and books and stories, it ends up informing reality. Science fiction oftentimes becomes science fact in the future, okay? So just allow yourself to go beyond what already is and explore the unknown this month. As a yes/no, it's a nuanced thing. So there are some cards which are going to say no because you have to believe it. And even if you don't see it, you can do it. And the biggest challenge this month is a lack of confidence or a lack of vision. So that would be my message to you, is to focus on the vision component and the belief and the confidence components, and doors are going to start to open up. Things that you didn't imagine can start to come through. And really that feels like the core of that message, and I hope that that resonated with you. All right, everybody, thank you again for being here today. If you are a first-time viewer, consider hitting the subscribe button. That way you'll never miss out on new videos. You can also click the bell icon to specify just how many notifications you'd like to get. All of this is free, all of this is optional, but it does help. Clicking the thumbs up gives me an instant notification on my phone and lets me know that you cared about this. It also helps other people find this video, so thank you in advance. For those of you that aren't always logged in but want to make sure, again, that you are up to date with news and information, follow me across social media. It's always at Nicholas Ashbaugh on major platforms. You can go to my website for more information or click on my main channel page, and the links are beneath or around that sort of bio description area. If you want to give back, you can do so in super stickers, super chat, super thanks. I think it's just called out as thanks with a heart on replay. And you can also become a member if you'd like to. This allows me to do more videos like this, so thank you in advance. Just a quick reminder that I do not offer any private readings, so if anybody reaches out on any of the other platforms or here and tries to offer a product or service, just block and report them, okay? And my new videos are dropped every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. You can join me for a live stream every Sunday, and you can check out my daily one-card readings across all major platforms. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending some time with me today. You have a lot of choices here, and it means the world that you decided to spend the last 40 minutes or so with me. All right, until I see you again, wishing you all the best. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.